comes to news today, it's not a question of what you're seeing, but who you're getting it from. And when you turn the camera around, you want to find a team that lives to fulfill its promise. A team that deconstructs the headlines and toils to find the heart of the story. A team that drills into every fact and goes toward it, whatever it might be, just to cut a clear path to the truth. You want a news source that hustles and struggles and fights, not only to report, but to listen and know a community as well as it knows itself. You want a news team that understands real news simply means trust. A team that knows the information you need.
Breaking news coming into the channel
is only as reliable as the people who deliver it.
Good show, everyone. Nice job.
Channel 2 News, Alaska's news source, your news source.
Good morning, everyone, and we're hoping that you are safe and sound at this moment. Here is the very latest following that massive earthquake that we had early this morning in South Central. It was felt all throughout the communities.
Tracy, can you hear us, and what are you seeing?
Hi, guys. I hope you can hear me. We are right over that area near Cluna where the road has collapsed away. Traffic has been diverted, so both lanes are moving on the other highway on the southbound lane. And it is major damage to that road. You can see that one of the lanes is completely fallen away, as well as the exit ramp has fallen away.
I'm at the emergency command center at J-Bear,
Okay.
and I did just issue the verbal declaration of disaster. We received a number of calls from the White House about the earthquake. They asked if we wanted to request federal assistance. I accepted that.
If you tune into the radio, you'll hear people are talking about which gas stations are open, and I think people are flocking to the stations that are open. You could see people honking. They're just trying to get to a pump and not succeeding.
Right now we have a AWWU crew out here who's trying to fix this water line break over here. This is just down the hill from the jail. Now, I want you to look at, so you see that's in the middle of the road. You can see the water coming up through there. But then just below that, there's a really rather large crack in the road that leads us over here to the sidewalk. And I'm going to have Leah pan down, my photographer, so we can see this crack that goes from the road onto the sidewalk, comes through here, and just really leads over to this building. This is a church. We spoke with the owners just a little while ago about this damage. All of these cracks in the sidewalk that you see, they say that all of this is brand new. This is just from this earthquake. 2 huge windows smashed out, as well as damage onto the ceiling.
Tracy, do you see anything? Oh, they're right there. There's some damage right along the road we can see from here.
Yes, we're seeing some, major dropping of the ground off the edge of the highway, and then right on the overpass, there's a pretty distinct, not quite as dramatic as what we saw near Cluna and Mirror Lake, but this crack in the pavement that runs pretty much along one of the lanes, and obviously you can't have people driving over it.
Well, now let's head to reporter Taylor Perez, who is live at what looks to be some of the most significant damage on Minnesota and an International Airport Road.
Yeah, Maria, this is quite the dramatic scene behind me. We're at Minnesota and International Airport Road. Take a look behind me right here. This is pretty extensive damage. That car was actually on the road when the earthquake hit. We are happy to report that the people in the vehicle were not injured at all. I actually spoke with them a few minutes after it happened. They are actually on their way to the airport, trying to head to California. They seemed in good spirits. They were not injured whatsoever. So initially what DOT was worried about was that there might be some power lines, some gas lines in this area, but it looks like they've gotten the all clear from that. So this is how they explained the road collapse, what happened. So if you take a look right over there, there is what used to be the berm. So that was holding up the road. All of that dirt, all of that snow, all that material was under the road. And when the earthquake happened, it just absolutely liquefied, went off to the side, and with nothing under the road, it collapsed.
And a lot of shaken nerves, and we have the video to prove it. Tonight, we have some of your video from today's earthquake showing what parents will do to protect their children from the danger. Channel 2's Derek Minnemeyer has that story tonight. Derek?
Yeah, Mike, I think all of us have a story to tell about the morning rumbling many into panic mode. But the video we're about to show you makes that real. Parents who don't think, they just react to save their children. Take a look. Just a regular Friday for Jesse Elmore and his 3 kids getting ready for school.
Oh, earthquake. I just started the coffee pot, poured myself a cup of coffee.
Keeping it cool for the kids. Just another quake in Alaska, Jesse thought. His 3rd child was downstairs. The frantic race to get the family to safety began.
So the first thing that went through my mind was earthquake. This is a bigger one than we've had in a while. So the dad and me kicked in.
Jesse isn't the only shaking example of parental instincts kicking in. A similar start to the day for the Skillias. Jennifer Skillia was doing her makeup. She was a little late for the dramatic exit.
It was the first earthquake I've ever encountered like that, and I've lived through all my life.
She thought it was the end.
I was like, okay, this is it. Like, this is the end of the world.
Mike, both families are safe and sound, a little bit shaken up, as we all are, but safe. Cleanup projects are underway across Anchorage and the Mat-Su. Back to you, Mike.
We're hoping that you are safe and sound at this moment. Here is the very latest.
The earthquake was about a 7 magnitude and was centered just north of Anchorage.
If you are in a safe place, stay there.
Cracks in the road, cracks in the sidewalk.
And then the road fell in on top, and that car just kind of slid down.
Alaskans responded in the best traditions, helping out their neighbors, making sure that they were okay. Take a deep breath, hug your kids, say a prayer. We've gotten through this one so far so good. We'll be okay.
Spring is in the air. But wait, we've got some breaking news.
Guys, it's getting really sunny out here.
Thanks, Markella. Looks like it's time to put the winter coats away, folks.
Guys, I think we've been replaced. Well, they are pretty good.
Watch the Channel 2 Morning Edition for a series of special Make-A-Wish stories and make wishes come true this month by donating your unused air miles in the 2 Million Mile Challenge.
Help send kids with critical illnesses on the trip of their dreams.
Every mile counts.
So go to KTUU.com and donate your air miles today.
Thank you, Howie. All right, so in April, we teamed up with the Make-A-Wish Foundation to help spread the word on how you can help grant wishes to kids with life-threatening illnesses.
It's our big 2 Million Mile Challenge, and at last check, we were well on our way. So joining us now this morning to talk a little bit more about Make-A-Wish is Hannah Motoro. Good morning.
Thank you. Well, Hannah, let's get right to it. Let's talk about the need and why we do this year after year, and for you guys, why and how important are these miles to get kids to these wishes?
So we rely on the donations of unused airline miles to be able to grant wishes to our local kids who have wished to go somewhere magnificent, whether it's to Florida, whether it's to California, whether it's to Boston last week for John.
Yeah.
So without the donations from the community, we can't send these children and their families to the destinations of their dreams.
So how many kids from Alaska are granted wishes each year, and what qualifies a kid for a wish?
So we grant between 30 and 40 wishes to local kids each year, and that's kids from across the entire state. They're always between the ages of 2.5 and 18, and they're living with conditions that are degenerative, progressive, or malignant, and that put their life in jeopardy.
Release brakes now, burners now. Okay, get ready. Oh my God.
Now it's almost an unbelievable sight. A roof completely blew off a home. Has now brought the fight into federal court.
They've been pulling these things up onto the shore like crazy.
Miraculous seems to be the word of the day. 11 people walking away from this plane crash.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. That was much louder than I expected it to be.
Fans were lined up hours before this game.
Hey. Yes, I know. All right.
The views, they're incredible. And the people here are so welcoming.
Just one problem. There's no road to get there.
You're going to need 4-wheel drive and a sense of adventure.
And my goodness, is it beautiful.
There's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothing. And I like to think we came pretty prepared.
I am going to
drive this bus on the course. Wish me luck.
Hundreds of Alaskans made the leap into Resurrection Bay this afternoon to raise money for cancer, including Channel 2 crew members Beth Verge, Leroy Polk, and Nikki Carvajal. One KTUU cancer survivor served as inspiration for the crew to take the plunge into the ice-cold water.
I was really scared. I'm not a very strong swimmer, and honestly, I was thinking about Tracy Sinclair the whole time. And how brave she is, and that's how I got the courage to do it.
Oh, big love for Nikki right there. The Channel 2 crew raised nearly $1,000 for the charity event, which brought in nearly $100,000 in donations for the American Cancer Society.
Well, it's an issue the city faces every day, homeless camps.
Have you ever spotted one right in the center of the city, one that never seems to go away, and wondered why no one appears to be doing anything about it? If so, you're not alone.
With a story that is 5 weeks in the making, Channel 2 Investigates set out to test the city's online system for reporting homeless camps.
Reporter Kyle Hopkins found out that removing a legal camp is more complicated than you might think.
Well, the city says it's making progress fighting homelessness in Anchorage, but the problem remains in your face at illegal campsites like the one you're about to see. Camps where open fires and propane tanks are raising new concerns. It's the tale of one homeless camp that highlights the dangers and the difficulty involved in clearing illegal sites. The story begins by hitting rewind. Month after month, a homeless camp is growing on Ingress Street.
When the leaves fell, we really noticed how big it was.
Right on the edge of downtown, in full view of drivers along one of the city's busiest streets. Back on December 1st, we visited the camp to test Anchorage's process for reporting an illegal campsite.
What you can't see back there is that there's some furniture, some sofas, there's what appears to be a city garbage can.
Anchorage allows residents to flag camps online using maps and photos.
So I'm going to tell them that it's a camp with tents, a little bit of details.
And we weren't the only ones.
We had one person do it initially. We didn't get much response from that, so we actually had everybody go through and do it because we thought maybe more the better.
Monica Emerton owns the Greenhouse Connection on 15th Avenue, just uphill from the camp.
Slowly, kind of one by one, we got them kicked back to us saying that there was nothing they could do because it wasn't on public property.
While it's illegal to camp on city property in Anchorage, we learned this camp is actually on land that belongs to the adjacent strip club, Crazy Horse. And that's where things get complicated. The owner of Crazy Horse declined to talk to us on camera, but left this voicemail.
This is Miss J from the Crazy Horse. I got your message on the homeless people living over there on my property. No, I didn't give them the okay to do that.
APD says the city did eventually come out and clear people out of the campsites, even marking the tents December 19th.
To reduce the notice time for public hearing nuisance abatement from 15 days to 10 days.
The Assembly has also recently shortened the period of time APD must wait to remove a camp that's been reported as a nuisance.
To try and provide the alternative that everyone agrees is the better solution.
What used to be 15 days for removal is now 10.
Well, so Mike, Maria, we had a guest on the 5 o'clock who did the 2-foot high kick. So I took it upon myself. He had to go to a meeting, so I'm taking it upon myself. I'm going to try it, and we have it around the same. It's just over 7 feet, so I'm going to try the 2-foot high kick, and hopefully this goes well.
Oh, be careful, Patrick.
Oh,
that was actually really close.
Didn't go as planned, but I'll go to the pilot bread recipe contest. I still have a shot at that, so a lot of fun stuff, and we'll be covering it the whole way. We got it on TV and on the web at KTUU.com. Back to you.
Excuse me. That was really good, actually.
Maria's all choked up over your athletic prowess.
Either that or the dust outside, I'm not sure.
Thanks, Patrick. We'll see you back in a few minutes. Coming up, happening now at the Alaska Airlines Center, the Native Youth Olympic Games kicking off tonight.
Channel 2's MK Burgess joins us now. MK, how are things going down there so far?
Mike, Maria, it has been a spectacular day down here at the Alaska Airlines Center for the first day of the Native Youth Olympics. I was so inspired by Patrick's high kick yesterday that I decided to not try out the high kick, but to try out one of the other events. With me is Amber Randazzo, a member of Anchorage's NYO team. Talk to me about what the significance of the seal jump is.
Well, traditionally, the hunters in the villages would use
it as a hunting technique, and they would sneak up on the seals close enough to where they could actually hunt them. Okay. And then over time it became a game to test your ability to go as far as you could just hopping on your toes and your knuckles.
All right, so how about you show us, and for those at home, I'm barefoot because my shoes were not conducive to this event, and then I will try myself. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get down in what, plank position, right?
Kind of like a push-up position.
Okay.
And then you hop, pushing. Like
okay,
that.
I don't have the arm strength for that at all. Thank you so much. Congratulations for being able to do this.
Thank you.
This event is going to be happening on Saturday. As of right now, I'm going to go find some more shoes, and I'm going to go back and watch the rest of the high kick. The guys, back to you.
MK, down and give us 20 seconds.
That's a tough one.
Guys, there's a reason I don't do push-ups. I only really run miles. You want me to run 5 miles? I'm good.
Okay.
Anything else? No.
Thanks, your sport.
So we asked our viewers on our social media readers to tell us what questions they had about the legislature in Juneau.
This week, viewer Ruth Decker of the Northern Matsu Borough wanted to know whether the state's marijuana tax was dedicated to a particular purpose and if it could be spent on education.
Channel 2 News political reporter in Juneau, Rich Maurer, looked for answers.
To get the answer, we crossed the street from the Capitol to the state office building where Ken Alper works. He's a former legislative aide who now is the state's tax director. We have a question from a viewer, Ruth Decker, who wants to know where the marijuana tax is going.
So, Rich, the marijuana tax is general fund revenue, and then the legislature, with the crime bill, SB 91, that passed in 2016, set that half of that money should go to something called the Recidivism Reduction Fund. That supports a series of programs in the Departments of Corrections, Public Safety, and Health and Social Services designed to keep people out of prison, people who come out from having to go back to prison.
But Alper says the state constitution has a strong ban on dedicated funds. The legislature usually follows the fund designations that it writes into laws, but it doesn't have to. With the marijuana tax, there's an increasing pile of money they could tap. The legislature is looking at spending more marijuana tax receipts on educating children about the dangers of marijuana. Are we talking about a lot of money here? How much money is available from marijuana taxes?
So this is a new industry. It's growing every month, pretty much. We see new licenses being issued, so there's very much an upward trend on the revenue. Last month, we crossed over the $1 million threshold for the month of January's sales. So we're looking at an annual trend of about $12 million. Our forecast for next year is $18 million of marijuana tax revenue.
Thank you, Ruth Decker, for sending in that question. We'd like to invite more questions from viewers. Just send them to askjuneau@ktuu.com.
A group of people from Channel 2, including yourself, competed in the Clean Air Challenge yesterday. Tell us about it.
It was great fun. Our team is KTUU News Flash, and the driving force behind this effort was Brad Hilwig, our marketing director.
Halfway mark, 50 miles, 50 more to go. Starting to rain. Can't complain though. Peace out.
We had a team of 9, and we rode varying distances of 26, 60, or 100 miles. And we had a bit of everything weather-wise: rain, wind, hail, and sunshine. Overall, it was a great day and for a good cause. Now, the Clean Air Challenge raised more than $265,000.
All of the funds that are raised go to all of the different programs that we actually support local Alaskans. So we've got our Freedom from Smoking programs, our Better Breathers Clubs, we have coalitions, and of course, funding cancer research.
There were 265 people riding yesterday, and there's KTUU News Flash. That was our selfie photo.
Clearly before the ride right there,
well,
Tracy.
Some of us weren't smiling so much when we were finished riding for the day.
No time to dwell on losses. UAA has to rally because Seattle Pacific is in town. Well, that is KTUU's own Beth Verge rocking the national anthem before the UAA men's basketball game. Now Seattle Pacific with a quick bucket here, but UAA would quickly respond. DJ Ursery with the handles.
We really wanted to give you a sense of what it's like to actually be on these islands, and so we're trying something new. If you go to KTUU.com right now or look at our Facebook page, you'll see we've posted a virtual reality or 360-degree video that is a mini tour of the places we visited, including those caves. On Facebook, you can move your phone around to see what's happening in every direction. And if you open the video through the YouTube link on our website, you can try watching it through a virtual reality headset like this one. And that is all on KTUU.com right now. Right here. Today it's a lonely place. Recently, Channel 2 visited Attu and Kiska, Alaska islands that have been captured by the Japanese, to see what remained of that forgotten chapter of World War II. A place that few people have set foot on in 75 years. Here we've taken a skiff to the wreckage of a Japanese steamer called the Borneo Maru. It was bombed by Allied to escape Allied bombs. This one the size of a small apartment. I could walk all the way through.
Stepping up to fight heart disease and stroke. This morning, more than 1,200 people took part in the American Heart Association's 5K Heart Walk at Delaney Park Strip. The annual event raises awareness about heart disease and stroke, which are the #1 and #5 leading causes of death nationally. Organizers say 80% of heart disease events could be prevented with simple changes like exercising more.
Going for a simple walk. Even from your desk to the water fountain or to the bathroom several times a day, that gets your heart pumping, that gets those steps in for the day. Those 10,000 steps are critical, and getting 150 minutes of exercise per week is what's recommended for adults.
The event raised more than $270,000 for the American Heart Association. The money will support research, education, and community programs. And joining us now for some perspective on today's Heart Walk is Dr. Seth Krause with Alaska Heart and Vascular Institute. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Why is it so important to be physically active when it comes to preventing these types of diseases?
Well, I mean, there's numerous studies have shown that the more we walk, the lower the incidence of new heart attacks and other heart-related ailments. And so, the best thing, the simplest thing, as you heard, is to walk 30 minutes a day, even if you break it up into 10-minute increments and do it 5 times a week. We need 150 minutes a week to significantly reduce mortality over the course of your life.
Good morning, everyone. We are now going to go right to the Emergency Operations Center with the very latest on the 7.1 magnitude quake and what you need to know. Jill Burke is standing
Overwhelm
by.
the phone lines. We know that some cell towers are not working. We even here at the EOC have had difficulty getting out, so the more that you can stay off of the phone lines, texting is a much smarter and easier way to get to your family and friends because it uses up less bandwidth.
It was Alaskans being Alaskans. Thank you. Thanks very much.
It's Governor Bill Walker wrapping up a press conference you saw live here on Channel 2 News. And one of, I thought his key quotes was something that I think a lot of us were thinking today. The governor saying, "This had a bite to it that was not comfortable." And the governor adding, "I thought this might be the big one." A lot of us felt that way this morning at about 8:30 when a 7.0 earthquake rocked the entire Anchorage area from the city down to Girdwood, the Kenai Peninsula, up to the Matsu Valley, shaking our sense of confidence, our sense of security. I know a lot of us felt a bit of panic this morning when this all hit, but as the governor and Mayor Ethan Berkowitz pointed out, Alaskans responded in the best traditions of the state of Alaska, helping out their neighbors, making sure that they were okay, checking for any damage around their homes, and trying to remain calm even under these very, very difficult situations. Thanks for joining us back in our live coverage here on Channel 2 of this major earthquake that has hit the Anchorage area and south central Alaska. We're going to run through some of the closings.
We have felt numerous waves of aftershocks since the initial 7.0 earthquake at 8:29 this morning. And we just did a few moments ago, still feeling the studio shake a bit.
Quite a bit of damage around south central Alaska, from a landslide on the Glen Highway to bottles knocked off store shelves. It's quite a mess to clean up, and you can send us your pictures and videos for air on Channel 2 Goodness. And of course, everyone, that's incredible.
We are now going to go right to the Emergency Operations Center with the very latest on the 7.1 magnitude quake and what you need to know. Jill Burke is standing
Overwhelm
by.
the phone lines. We know that some cell towers are not working. We even here at the EOC have had difficulty getting out, so the more that you can stay off of the phone lines, texting is a much smarter and easier way to get to your family and friends because it uses up less bandwidth.
Mayor Berkowitz, you had mentioned you felt that people responded with great character today.
I think the community rose to the occasion. I think we should be proud of that as the people of Anchorage, the people of South Central. I mean, oftentimes you see a disaster like this happen and chaos results. We acted as if we knew what we had to do, and we do, because we're prepared, we're resilient, and we look after one another.
We're in Ketchikan right now, but our goal is to get to Metlakatla. There's just one small issue. We can only get there by plane or take a boat.
12-minute flight. It's not going to be too long. A little snug for a bit. Forward harness.
Here?
In the back right there, yep.
Okay.
One goes either side of it.
There are some parts of Alaska so beautiful and remote that most people will never see unless you take a ferry or a 12-minute float plane ride. We leave Ketchikan headed to Metlakatla, passing small islands, ships, rainforests. The day, beautiful and bright, spreads before us, and as we touch down on the other side, we realize this is no ordinary island.
I see this is what our ancestors made for us, and it's our beautiful little part of the world.
On November 30th, 2018, South Central Alaska was rocked by a 7.0 magnitude earthquake. Despite damage to several major roads and many homes, Alaska fared well. Communication and transportation lines remain mostly open. And it serves as a good reminder to all Alaskans that we need to be prepared. Channel 2 News put together a series of reports in early October about emergency preparedness, and we put some of those stories together here. We're starting off with the basic emergency kit that you can build in a coffee can. Here's Chief Meteorologist Jackie Purcell.
Whether it's a weekend camping trip, a float down a river, or even if you or one of your kids is taking a road trip, it's always a good idea to prepare for problems and plan how to handle worse. I'll be showing you how to put together a 3-day disaster can, something to throw in your car, your camper, your boat, or plane, even your ATV. Now, if you don't have something like this already, listen up. It could make a big difference in your life.
These are the plans for the 72-hour disaster can. So many items. I made them all fit into this can. We'll see the assembly challenge coming up.
You may be asking yourself, is it really that crucial to have emergency food rations at close hand? Well, it is, and here's why. Covering news, we hear about that car that went off the main highway and was stuck for days, a driver who gets lost on a remote and unmaintained roadway, hikers that take a wrong turn and are lost for days, or a damaged boat or plane that has you waiting for rescue on a sandbar or island in a remote area. Planes, vehicles, ATVs, and watercraft. It's a variety of ways to explore the vastness of the state, but that comes with a variety of ways things can take a wrong turn.
I've asked a couple of scouts and their assistant scoutmaster from Troop 230 in Eagle River to help me assemble a few of these disaster cans. I'll also make these plans available on KTUU.com. This is a great opportunity because you know what the motto of the Boy Scouts is.
Be prepared. The disaster can items can be found at local stores. You may even have some of these items on hand at home. A good estimate on the cost of the can and its contents is $25 to $30.